So आज की Shravan, for today, let everyone be in the panel.
Okay, sir.
Can you disable attendees? Or
ఇప్పుడు చెయ్యాలంటే మళ్ళీ మీటింగ్ ఎండ్ చేసి మీటింగ్ మోడ్ లోకి మార్చాల్సి ఉంటుంది.
మారిస్తే బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతారు అందరూ?
ఎస్ సార్.
ఓకే, సరే మరి ఎలాగే అందరినీ ప్యానలిస్ట్ పెట్టేసి.
Sir, good afternoon. This is Pawan. I just joined.
Good afternoon, Pawan. How are you?
Fine, sir. Good.
Okay, good. Dharmender, are you waiting
Yes,
for people
sir.
to join?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll
Somebody pursuing with the attendees to join?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In respective groups. Sir. It's happening, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, Right Garu and all others.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Prasad.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, right, sir. Good evening, sir. Nagireddy.
Good evening, Nagareddy garu.
Oh, sir.
చాలా తర్వాత మీ గొంతు వినడం.
సార్ ఈ మధ్య శ్రీకాంత్ వచ్చాడు కదా సార్, ఇంకా మీకు బాగా హెల్ప్ చేస్తున్నాడు సార్.
యా
అదే సార్.
సార్ గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్. రైట్ గారు గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్. రాంబాబు సార్.
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ రాంబాబు గారు, బాగున్నారా?
బాగున్నాను సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
గుడ్ గుడ్.
రాంబాబు గారు గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్. వరప్రసాద్
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్. గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్. బాగున్నారా వరప్రసాద్ గారు? ఏ సార్
బాగున్నాను సార్.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం సార్. నాయక్ అనంతపురం సార్.
సంతోషం
సార్ సార్
నాయక్ ఎట్లా ఉన్నావు?
సార్ సార్
ఈస్ బ్యాక్ సార్.
బాగున్నాను సార్.
బాస్ ఈజ్ బ్యాక్ అని.
Sir, 67 participants, sir. I think.
How many are expected?
83 is core group.
83 కోర్ గ్రూప్ లోంచేనా మన కౌంట్ ఇప్పుడు?
అవును సార్.
ఓకే, ఇంకెవరో చూడండి.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Participating is open to all. Yes.
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ ప్రవీణ్.
Yes, sir.
Sir, good evening all of you, sir. This is Trimurtulu, sir.
త్రిమూర్తి గారు గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్.
Raidu sir, I think we should start. I'm requesting EVC sir to join.
యా ఎవరో రాని వాళ్ళను ఒక లిస్ట్ లో ఓ లిస్ట్ మెయింటైన్ చేయండి, మాట్లాడదాం వాళ్ళతో. రేపు ఫ్యూచర్ లో కూడా ఇట్లే కాకూడదు.
Shravan, EVC sir join over.
సార్
ప్యానలిస్ట్ చేశారా సార్ని?
EVC sir join అవగానే ప్యానెల్ లోకి పిలవండి, యాడ్ చేయండి.
ఎస్ సార్ ఎస్ సార్.
Yeah, can we start, Dharmender?
ఎస్ సార్, ఎస్ సార్, we
good
can
evening,
start.
sir. Yes, we can start.
Okay, okay.
There are 75 participants here.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I see that Rambav is also joined.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Very good. Then we have Pawan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Then Raidu garu and colleagues, this is a very important preparatory session. Manaku, to our great fortune, I would say, Walter Yana garu oka 10 sessions manaki ivvadaniki he has agreed. This has been facilitated by FAO and Sophie. Now, these 10 sessions are weekly sessions. Details ippade Dharmender istar meeku. So we have selected all of you. We have selected all of you so that you benefit from this and you are able to take it when you are doing the research or you are doing the training. So you can see that all the erstwhile NFFs and RCs, RAs are included here. In addition, we have senior members in the science team and also the senior people from the state level. And we also have mana DPMs kontamandi unnaru. Now, this is a very rigorous program. Idi ashamashika kadu. He is giving us so much time. He is, very busy person, and he is in, great demand from so many countries. Still, he has taken time out. So, what we want to do is, ఇది ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో ఇక్కడ, you have multiple roles. ఒకటి, వారు చెప్పేది అర్థం చేసుకొని to clarify your own thinking about the science of natural farming. So that is one purpose. It's a great opportunity to enhance your learning, and also he will be providing other references. So ఎవరైనా సైన్స్ ఏమిటి అని చెప్తే కూడా దానికి చాలా స్పష్టంగా బలంగా కౌంటర్ చేయడానికి సరైన ఆధారాలు వారు ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. దాంతోపాటు you yourselves are generating evidence in the field. So that is the big advantage here. This is not a group which is doing only theoretical work. So varu prapanchamlo, and based on his own work, what he has observed in so many countries, he will give us the knowledge, you will be able to appreciate it both from a science point of view, but more important from the practical point of view. మీరే గత కొన్ని సంవత్సరాల నుంచి 2016 నుంచి మీరు చూస్తున్నారు. Those who have been involved in the program right from the beginning, others as and when you joined the program. So ground results, మీకు చాలా డౌట్స్ కూడా క్లారిఫై అవుతాయి. రైతులు మిమ్మల్ని అడిగింది కానీ, సిఆర్పిస్ మిమ్మల్ని అడిగింది కానీ. సో ద ఫస్ట్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఈజ్ టు ఎన్హాన్స్ యువర్ ఓన్ నాలెడ్జ్. The second objective is we are preparing a manual or a textbook. ఇది ప్రస్తుతం మన ఫార్మర్ సైంటిస్ట్, రైతు శాస్త్రవేత్తలకి, అదేవిధంగా సిఆర్పిస్ కోసం అనుకుంటున్నాము. బట్ భవిష్యత్తులో, బికాస్ ది ఆనరబుల్ చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ వాంట్స్ us టు సెటప్ ఏ యూనివర్సిటీ, సో దానికి కూడా ఇది చాలా, ఇట్ విల్ హెల్ప్ us a lot in preparing ourselves for setting up of this university. So దీనికోసము ఇంగ్లీష్లోను తెలుగులోను ఈ 10 వారాల సెషన్స్ గురించి మీరందరూ కూడా you will be involved in finalizing this, but we have chosen some specifically certain people who will be involved in writing this. So Pavan and Anu, they have taken the responsibility. There are some more people. I don't know if they have joined today, but అది కూడా మీకు తెలియజేస్తాము. ఇది ఇంగ్లీష్లో రాయాల్సి వస్తుంది, తెలుగులో కూడా. ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ కాదు, ఇంగ్లీష్ వాళ్ళు వేరేగా ఉంటారు, తెలుగు వాళ్ళు వేరేగా ఉంటారు. సో దట్ ఇది మళ్ళీ లేకుంటే గూగుల్ ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ వల్ల అది అర్థం లేని ట్రాన్స్లేషన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి ఈ రోజుల్లో. సో దే విల్ బి సెపరేట్, ఇంగ్లీష్ విల్ బి సెపరేట్, తెలుగు విల్ బి, దే విల్ బి రిటర్న్ సెపరేట్లీ. So from these 10 sessions, we should get very good content for the manual and also the course for the farmer scientists, the course for our CRPs. So to me, that's a very extraordinary benefit coming out of this. Third, English lo manam tayar chestam kabatti adi itara rashtralaki, itara deshaలకు కూడా అది పనికొస్తుంది. బియాండ్ దిస్ మనం ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్స్ చేయదలుచుకున్నాం. సో ఈ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్స్ కోసము మనము ఎలాంటి ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్స్ చేయాలా, ఆర్ వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ డిఫరెంట్ హైపోథసిస్ దట్ వీ నీడ్ టు డెవలప్, యూ విల్ గెట్ మోర్ క్లారిటీ. సో దేర్ ఫోర్ మన ఇండో జర్మన్ అకాడమీ ప్లాన్ ఆఫ్ యాక్షన్ కోసం కూడా ఇది దోహదపడుతుంది. ఇట్ విల్ బి ఫార్మర్ సైంటిస్ట్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఏ పారామీటర్స్ మీద మనము స్టడీ చేస్తాము అనే అంశం మీద ఇది ఇట్ విల్ బి వెరీ యూస్ఫుల్. We also hope that we have not yet finalized, but ఇది ఇంకా రైతులకు సులభమైన భాషలో వెళ్ళే విధంగా what more can we do? Can we, because what he'll be talking in English, so there is no translation provided while he is speaking. So let us be clear about that. But as record chestam kabatti మీరు you can listen to him several times to understand. What is the importance of these lectures? Let me tell you, 2016లో 2015లో నేను యుఎస్ సాయిల్ మైక్రోబయాలజిస్ట్ ఇలేన్ ఇంగ్హామ్ అని వెరీ ఫేమస్ సాయిల్ మైక్రోబయాలజిస్ట్, వారి లెక్చర్స్ విన్నాను నేను ముందు. స్టేట్కి వచ్చినాక, అగ్రికల్చర్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్లో జాయిన్ అయినాక పాలేకర్ గారు చెప్పిన మాటలు, పాలేకర్ గారి బుక్స్ని నేను చదివాను దానికంటే ముందే. బట్ ఇలేన్ ఇంగ్హామ్ గారి లెక్చర్స్ ద్వారా ఎంత శాస్త్రీయత ఉంది. దేర్ ఈస్ సో మచ్ సైన్స్ behind most of what Mr. Palekar has said. So that led me to trying to understand from who are the other scientists in the world who are thinking along those lines. So I found Dr. Ratan Lal, then Christine Jones, వాల్ట్రియనా. సో వాల్ట్రియనా 2016లో యుఎస్ఏలో 2 లెక్చర్స్ ఇచ్చారు. అది నేను 2017లో I was able to watch them over YouTube. And let me tell you, I have watched those 2 what I call foundational videos. ఇప్పుడు వరకు ఒక 14 సార్లు చూశాను అది. ఆ 2 వీడియోస్ కలిపి 4 గంటలు ఉంటాయి. So every time I watched, I could get a new insight. Similarly, Christine Jones videos ఉన్నాయి. In July 2022 also she has released one. There's one video released. I would strongly recommend you to watch. So her videos I have watched, I don't know how many times, 10 times, 12 times, different videos. Enta spashtata undi, and there is so much what we are doing and what they are saying is matching so well. And that is really the greatness of the work on ground, that it reflects the best of science in the world. So therefore, Walter Jehne garu mana daggara, he spent 12 days with us. He came to Anantapur, he then came to Guntur, then I went with him to Delhi. And he has got so much knowledge, so much to offer to the world. And he is very concerned or very much attached to the work that is happening in Andhra Pradesh. So therefore, he has gone out of his way to give us this dedicated time. Idi lectures se kaakunda, we are hoping October lo gaani, November lo gaani varu India ku vastarani. Again, we'll have some more time to get to meet him, hear from him. So all of you who have been given this opportunity to be in the what we are calling the core group. So 2 categories chesam dintlo. Okati core group ani. Core group responsibilities ఏమిటి అనేది ధర్మేంద్ర గారు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తారు. Then there's an extended group, so that those who seniors or others not directly connected with science or training, but if they wish to watch, they can watch. Walter will respond in the question and answer sessions. So our opportunity untundi Walter sessions attend kavadaniki. So both the groups are there. So the responsibility on the core group is 10 weeks lo slots participate కావటము, దానికంటే ముందు హోంవర్క్ ఉంటుంది, అది అయిపోయిన తర్వాత కూడా హోంవర్క్ ఉంటుంది. And there will be evaluation at the end of each of these weeks, and what knowledge you have acquired, what capability you have acquired will also be tested. So this has to be taken very seriously, and this will be a very big reward, because prastutam whatever we are doing, pre-monsoon dry sowing anedi, it owes its origins to Walter Jehne's lectures. And today prati district lo, prati farming situation lo kuda pre-monsoon dry sowing ni you have tried in so many ways. There are further improvements to be made in any case, but still prati jillalo kuda edo oka pratyekata undi ee pre-monsoon dry sowing implementation lo. So meeku inka ideas vastayi. You will get more ideas how best to do this. And I would say the work done in Anantapur, the 365 days green cover edaithe Nayak garu chala successful ga implement chesaro, idantha kuda this is inspiration drawn from the knowledge coming from Walter Jehne, and at the same time your own practical experience. So rendu combine cheyadam jarugutundi ikkada. So it is not theory edo oka scientists మాట్లాడుతున్నారు for either research publication కోసం అని కాదు ఇది. This is something which will be utilized, applied on ground, and then మీ on ground innovations కూడా ఈ knowledge ని వినియోగించుకొని you will be able to do more of it. I would request Rayudu Garu and Varaprasad and all the senior team members that prati session ainaka, what are the learnings, what are the takeaways, దానివల్ల ప్రతి ఒక్కరు ఏ రకమైన వారి దగ్గర ఉన్న డౌట్స్ ఏవేవి క్లియర్ అయినాయి, అండ్ ఆర్ దే ఇన్ ఎ బెటర్ పొజిషన్ టు అడ్రస్ ది కన్సర్న్స్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫార్మర్స్ కానీ సిఆర్పిస్ కానీ. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ది, సో ప్లీజ్ డివైజ్ ఏ సూటబుల్ మెకానిజం ఫార్ అసెసింగ్ అండ్ గ్రూప్స్గా డివైడ్ అయ్యి ఒక్కొక్కరు 10-12 మందిని మెంటర్ చేయండి ఓవర్ దిస్ 10 weeks. So that everybody gets special attention. The core group participants lone seniors will take responsibility, have 8 or 10 members or group kinda తీసుకొని one-to-one counseling, ఏం నేర్చుకున్నారు, దీనివల్ల ఏంటి ప్రయోజనము, అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ లెక్చర్ కోసము వారు ఏమేమి చదువుకోవాలా. సో there is a lot of reading to be done, lot of useful videos you need to watch to draw lessons from that. So this is very, I would say, very not very, a great opportunity for all of you, each one of you as individuals, but more important for the entire రైతు సాధికార సంస్థ team to benefit from this and take it to every CRP and then take it to every farmer in the state and contribute to taking this outside Andhra Pradesh, outside the country. So these are my expectations. I now hand over to Dr. Rayudu to say a few words, and then Varaprasad to say a few words, and then Dharmender will take you through what is expected from each one of you. Rayudu Garu.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody. చాలా విషయాలు చాలా స్పష్టంగా ఒక కైండ్ ఆఫ్ సెట్టింగ్ ఏ విజన్ మీరు చెప్పారు. పెద్దగా నేను యాడ్ చేసేది ఏం లేదు సార్. ఓన్లీ అల్టిమేట్ పాయింట్ ఈజ్ ఈ సిఆర్పిలకి రైతులకి, సిఆర్పిలకి ఏ రకంగా వాళ్ళ పనితీరు మెరుగులో ఇది అక్కరొస్తుంది, రైతుల జీవన శైలి దీనివల్ల చాలా పెద్ద సైన్స్ ఇది. వీఆర్ ఫార్చునేట్ సార్ అన్నట్టు. సో దీన్ని ఎలా మనము ఫీల్డ్ క్షేత్రస్థాయిలో ఎలా తీసుకెళ్ళగలుగుతున్నాం అనేది అల్టిమేట్. వాచకాలు ఎలా అప్గ్రేడ్ చేస్తున్నాము, హ్యాండ్ బుక్ ని ఎలా ఇంప్రూవ్ చేస్తాము, ఎలా అల్టిమేట్లీ గోస్ టు ది లోయెస్ట్ రంగ్, నాట్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇంపార్టెన్స్, ఫ్రమ్ ది reaching out the unreached. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Varaprasad Garu, idi
Sir,
overall impression and how it will help for the academy. Adu kuda cheppandi.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the guidance that you have given. And for each group of people will have different perceptions. So after listening to you, I have also an idea which I think Dharmender to consider, that we have for each topic, we have identified a lead. Most of them are from science leads. So having said that, certainly we cannot be the same perception from the trainers, from the DPMs. Different perceptions will come from different groups. So there is no harm in identifying one lead from other groups as well. And then the questions are welcome from them. Because if I'm definitely biased towards academy, sir, because this will help us to design the experiments and also identify some new problems, what we have not perceived before, and even the methodology for making it, getting some data on that. We'll get some new ideas, and it will be extremely useful for the academy and all the academy staff, all research coordinators, our research consultants, team leads will be very seriously look at this thing, and we will take advantage of that, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, few words from you, Ram Babu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for great opportunity given to me. to be part of this group, core group. చాలా సంతోషం సార్. మంచి ప్రయత్నం ఇది. ఒక 10 క్లాసులు చాలా ఇన్డెప్త్ గా జరిగితే కనుక ఈ సైన్స్ కు సంబంధించిన చాలా విషయాలు ఇంకా చాలా లోతుగా అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి మనకు ఉపయోగపడుతుంది. అది రికార్డ్ చేసి ప్రైమర్స్ గా తీసుకురావటం కూడా చాలా ఉపయోగంగా ఉంటుంది. ఫర్దర్ రీసెర్చ్ కూడా చాలా ఉపయోగంగా ఉంటుందని నేను కూడా భావిస్తున్నాను సార్. చాలా సంతోషం సార్ నేను ఇందులో భాగస్వామిని చేసిన. ధన్యవాదాలు.
No, you are a pioneer in this, so you must be here.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
పవన్ గారు.
సార్,
పవన్,
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ. ఇది ఒక అద్భుతమైన అవకాశం సార్ ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రానికి, అట్లాగే భారతదేశానికి కూడా. లాస్ట్ 3 years నుంచి మీరు అన్నట్టుగానే వాల్టరియనా గారి వీడియోస్ చూడడం, వినడం, అట్లాగే ఒక్కొక్కసారి 15 సార్లు 15 సార్లు కూడా విన్న పరిస్థితులు ఉన్నాయి. అట్లాగే ఆయన ఇచ్చిన రిఫరెన్సెస్ కూడా చూడడం, అట్లాగే మీరు చెప్పిన పేర్లు అందరూ కూడా ఈ శాస్త్రవేత్తలందరూ దాదాపుగా ఇవాళ మన భూతాపాన్ని తగ్గించాలని కానీ, లేదా వ్యవసాయ రంగంలో మార్పులు తీసుకొచ్చి వ్యవసాయాన్ని రైతుకి అనుకూలంగా మలచడమే కాకుండా అది ప్రకృతిని మనం పరిరక్షించుకోవడానికి ఏ రకంగా ఉపయోగపడుతుంది అనే విషయం మీద దాదాపుగా వీరందరిలోనూ ఒకటే ఒపీనియన్ ఉంది. అప్రోచెస్ లో కూడా అందరూ చెప్తా ఉంది ఇవాళ అగ్రో ఎకాలజీ వైపుకే వచ్చేసారు, ఇంక్లూడింగ్ FAO. సో ఈ సందర్భంలో మనం ఆంధ్రాలో ఈ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ ఆల్రెడీ 4-5 years క్రితం స్టార్ట్ చేసి ఉండి మనం కొంత అనుభవం సాధించాం. ఇక్కడ మన దగ్గర ఉన్న రైతులు కొత్తగా ఫ్రెష్గా వ్యవసాయంలోకి వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు, కొత్త ప్రశ్నలు అడిగేవాళ్ళు కాదు. మనం PMDS-లో మల్టీ క్రాపింగ్ మోడల్స్ చూసాము, ఆగ్రో ఫారెస్ట్రీలో 5 layer ప్లాంటేషన్స్, రకరకాల ప్లాంటేషన్స్ చూసాము. ఏ పద్ధతులు మనకు అనుకూలంగా ఉంటాయి, ఏ పద్ధతులు అనుకూలంగా లేవు, అక్కడున్న అగ్రోఎకలాజికల్ కండిషన్స్ ఏంటి, వీటిపైన మనకు కొంత అవగాహన ఉంది. RYSS ద్వారా కొంత పరిశోధనలు కూడా దీనిపైన జరుగుతూ ఉన్నాయి. సో ఈ సందర్భంలో ఒక గొప్ప శాస్త్రవేత్త అంతర్జాతీయ స్థాయిలో ఇతర దేశాల్లో చూస్తూ అనేక సినారియోస్ ని ఆయన అర్థం చేసుకుంటూ గైడ్ లైన్స్ ఇవ్వడం, దాన్ని మనం గ్రాస్ రూట్ లెవెల్కి తీసుకురావడం, ఈ గ్రాస్ రూట్ లెవెల్ నుంచి రైతుల నుంచి వస్తున్న ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ని తిరిగి మనం ఆయనకు ఒక పక్కన తెలియజేస్తూ మనం అబ్జర్వ్ చేసుకోవడం, ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని లీడ్ చేసే విధంగా RYSS నుంచి కానీ ఇవాళ అకాడమీ స్టార్ట్ అయింది. అట్లాగే యూనివర్సిటీకి కూడా ఇది భవిష్యత్ తరాలకి పనికొచ్చే ఒక గొప్ప యజ్ఞం లాంటి సార్ ఇది. దీనికి అనుకూలంగా మనం ఏ రకంగా ముందుకెళ్ళాలి, మన టైం ఫ్రేమ్స్ ఏంటి, అట్లాగే ఈ క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్ సెషన్స్ ఎట్లా ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకుంటాము, ట్రైనింగ్స్ ఎట్లాగా మాడ్యులేట్ చేస్తాము, ఆ తర్వాత ఈ ట్రాన్స్లేషన్స్ అవైలబిలిటీకి మనకి ఎంత టైం పడుతుంది, ఇది నాకు తెలిసి మనం ఇదంతా చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్తున్నాయి. ఈ 10 వారాల తర్వాత కూడా మనకి దాదాపు ఒక 2 సంవత్సరాల పని ఉంటుంది దీంతో. ఆ తర్వాత మనకి ఈ యంగర్ జనరేషన్ స్టార్ట్ అవుద్ది. బహుశా CRPs, ఫార్మర్స్ వాళ్ళు దీన్ని డైజెస్ట్ చేసుకొని మనకి ఫార్మర్ టు ఫార్మర్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ స్థాయికి తీసుకెళ్ళగలిగిన శక్తి మనం వాళ్ళకి ఇవ్వగలుగుతాం యూనివర్సిటీ ద్వారా. బహుశా ఇది ఒక అద్భుతమైన ప్రయోగం సార్. దీంట్లో మీరు మాకు ఇచ్చిన బాధ్యతల్ని మేము సక్రమంగా నిర్వర్తిస్తాం, అట్లాగే టీంతో కలిసి వర్క్ చేస్తాం సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ పవన్. ఐ డోంట్ నో ఇఫ్ రామారావు గారు లైన్లో ఉన్నారా, ఈజ్ ది అవైలబుల్? CEO గారు. I think he has gone somewhere. Okay. Nayak garu, you are the one who has really done the pioneering work.
సార్ నమస్కారం సార్, అందరికి నమస్కారం సార్. ఇది మనది ఇంత పెద్ద సైన్స్ ఉందని మొదట ఫీల్డ్ లెవెల్లో మనం చేయగలిగాం సార్. దీనికి ఇంత ఫీల్డ్ లో మనం మొదటిసారిగా చేశామనేసి వారు ప్రపంచవ్యాప్తంగా విజయ్ కిరణ్ ఇక్కడ ఏపీలో చేశారని ప్రపంచమంతా చెప్పి తిరుగుతున్నారు. ఇది థియరిటికల్ గా ఆయన చెప్పినప్పటికీ మనం ప్రాక్టికల్ గా అనంతపురంలో నిరూపించగలిగాము. పైగా ఈ డెజర్టిఫైడ్ ఏరియాలో మనము 365 days అనేది ఎవరి గ్రీన్ అనేది చాలా అద్భుతమైన పని చేశామని మనల్ని ఈ సైన్స్ పరంగా సపోర్ట్ చేసిన ఏకైక వ్యక్తి వీరు సార్.
కరెక్ట్.
మనల్ని ఈ అనంతపూర్ మోడల్ని అన్ని చోట్లకి తీసుకెళ్ళగలిగి అందరికీ చెప్పగలిగారు ఆయన. మీ గురించి, అనంతపురం గురించి అన్ని చోట్ల చెప్పిన ఏకైక వ్యక్తి మీరు. దీనివల్ల చాలా పేరు వచ్చింది సార్, మనకు మంచి పేరు వచ్చింది. బియాండ్ ద సైన్స్ ఏమని మొదట చెప్పగలిగిన వారు వారే. పాలేకర్ గారు బేస్ చేసుకొని మనం మొదలు పెట్టినప్పటికీ మన దగ్గర చాలా రకాల మీ అనుభవాలు, నా సొంత ప్రాక్టికల్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఇవన్నీ చేసి కూడ తీసుకొని అన్ని చేయగలిగితే చేశాం మనము. ఇప్పుడు మనకు చాలా మంచి అవకాశం సార్. ఈ సైన్స్ పరంగా మా లాంటి వారు ఆన్ రికార్డ్ అయితే వీళ్ళు కోర్టుకు పోతాము అది ఇది అని బెదిరించే వర్గాలు ఎక్కువ అయినాయి కాబట్టి యూనివర్సిటీలో ఈ వ్యాలిడేషన్కి వెళ్ళాము. యూనివర్సిటీ వాళ్ళ దగ్గర వ్యాలిడేషన్ కోసం వెళ్ళాము. ఎందుకంటే దీంట్లో మేలు జరగడం కంటే నష్టం చేసే శక్తులు ఎక్కువ ఉన్నాయనేది మనకు భయం లోపల ఉంది, బయట చెప్పుకోలేని విధంగా ఉంది ఇప్పటికి కూడా. మరి ఇలాంటి వారు మనకు ఈ సూత్రీకరణ చేసి మన దగ్గర సైన్స్ ఉంది, వీఆర్ డూయింగ్ ద సైన్స్, అది కూడా వీరు ఇంతకుముందు మన జూమ్ కాల్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ లోనే చెప్పారు. నాయకుడు చేసింది ఇది ప్లానెట్ కి ఆధారం అని ఆయన డిక్లేర్ చేశారు సార్ 2 years బ్యాక్. మనకు డిసెంబర్ లో ఇచ్చిన ఇది ప్లానెట్ కని వాడారు ఆయన, చాలా పెద్ద పదం వాడారు. నిజానికి మనకు చాలా మార్గదర్శి సార్ వీరు. ఇంకా వీరు మనకు ముందుంటే ఈ కొంత అటు ఇటు ఉండే శాస్త్రవేత్తలంతా కూడా దారికి వస్తారు, మన మార్గం సుగమం అవుతుంది. చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉంది సార్ ఈ కార్యక్రమం. మీరు ఎప్పుడో పెట్టాల్సింది చాలా లేట్ పెట్టారు అనిపిస్తుంది నాకు. సార్ మీ టీము వరల్డ్ లో ఒక టీం మీరు తయారు చేసుకున్నారు సార్. అనంతపురము మన ఏపీలో టీం లాగా మీకు వరల్డ్ లో ఒక టీం ఉంది సార్. ఆ టీమ్ లో మేము లేము కానీ
మీరంతా ఉన్నారు. నో దోస్ పీపుల్ యాక్చువల్లీ యు ఆర్ రైట్. చాలా మంది మన గురించి మనకంటే ఎక్కువ తాపత్రపడే వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు ఇతర దేశాల్లో.
అలాంటి టీం ఒకటి మీరు ఏర్పాటు చేశారు సార్. ఇది ప్రపంచంలో ఎవరికి సాధ్యం కానిది అదే. మన యూనివర్సిటీ డిఆర్ గారు వచ్చినప్పుడు కూడా నేను ఇదే చెప్పగలిగాను. మాకు ప్రపంచంతో సంబంధాలు ఉన్నాయి, ప్రపంచ స్థాయిలో చేస్తున్నాం మేము. దీనికి ఇంక మనకు ఎక్కడే కానీ ఆలోచించాల్సిన అవసరం మాకు లేదు, మీరే ఆలోచన చేసి దీంట్లోకి రాండి అని చెప్పాను. అందుకని ఇలాంటి వారితో మీరు ఇట్లా ప్రోగ్రాం పెట్టి ఇది కూడా మనము ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్ళగలిగితే మనకు చాలా మేలు జరుగుతుంది సార్. ఇది దేశమే కాదు ప్రపంచానికి మేలు జరుగుతుంది. ప్లానెట్ అనే పదం వాడారు వారు. ఆ రోజు నాతో మీరు ప్రోటోకాల్ చెప్పించిన రోజు కాబట్టి నేను చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉన్నా సార్, హ్యాపీగా ఉంది సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Now I want to call one young person, Irfan Sheikh. He was there when Walter Jehne came. Gunturlo kuda unnaru. Yes, Irfan, you want to say something?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
హ్యాపీ టు హియర్. మళ్ళీ మనం వాల్టర్ సార్ని మళ్ళీ కలుద్దామని మళ్ళీ ఆయనతో మళ్ళీ మనకి ఇన్ని క్లాసులు రావడం కూడా అదృష్టమే సార్. యాక్చువల్గా ఆయన చాలా బిజీగా ఉంటారు. మీ దయ వల్ల మళ్ళీ మాకు ఆయన క్లాసులు వినే భాగ్యం కలిగింది. అండ్ ఈ 10 సెషన్స్ ని ఇప్పుడు ఏదైతే 10 వారాలు ఏదైతే మేము వింటున్నామో మేము నేర్చుకుని మేము టెస్ట్ పాస్ అయ్యేలాగా మేము హోంవర్క్స్ చేసి క్యాడర్స్ కి మన ప్రాజెక్ట్ కి మన నేచురల్ ఫార్మింగ్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్ కి ఎట్లా ఉపయోగపడతాయి అన్ని మేము మాడ్యూల్ రూపంలో మేము ట్రైనింగ్ టీం తరపు నుంచి మేము కూడా తయారు చేసి దీన్ని క్యాడర్స్ కి ఎలాగా ఏ వేలో తీసుకువెళ్ళాలనేది మేము చూస్తాం సార్.
Good. So the role of NFAs especially RCs is very, very important. It is useful to you. At the same time, ఇది 10 వారాల్లో అయిపోతుంది కాదు. This training is going to help you lifelong. It is that kind of training and lot of responsibility in taking it to either research paranga gaani రైతుల దగ్గరికి తీసుకెళ్ళడంలో గానీ and a big role for our communication team state level. So yeah, so now with this I now request Dharmender to take over, and then what are the do's and don'ts, what are the expectations, అది డీటెయిల్ లోకి వెళ్ళండి ధర్మేందర్. ఓవర్ టు యూ.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, welcome everyone. So, this is a kind of chosen group who have greater responsibilities to work on science, research, and training, especially nutrition, all of this. So, we decide to include all of you, even other colleagues also. But for a class to be effective, there has to be some size limit. And we had to stretch it to 83 participants so far. And this core group will be directly in touch with Walter. And it is mandatory for all these core group participants to take part in every session, follow the instructions and do assignments and come back, all of that. So time commitment and discipline has to be there. So, but this course is not closed to only you. Anyone who is interested to follow whatever is being taught here, we have made arrangements so that the same meeting will be available for others also, but not in the panelist group. So we will be using this webinar Zoom account. There will be attendees outside panelist group, and also there will be a YouTube link available while this session is going on, and also recording will be made available so that nobody will be losing any opportunity to learn from Walter. So this is the first clarification I want to give. So if you are not in the core group, it doesn't mean you should not come to learn. You can access all these resources. But for management issues, we have restricted the group size. Okay, so that first I want to clarify to all. So I want to take you through how we'll be traveling for the next 10 weeks. So this is the suggested by Walter and team. So I'll be sharing one document. That very document I have shared with you all in a Google group. So we will communicate using Google Groups. A special Google Groups account has been created where all these core group members were added, and an introductory mail has been sent to you all. So, because in WhatsApp, people tend to delete important files. So this email group will be useful even for your future references. So please check your forums tab in Gmail. You must have received a mail in that there is one draft plan, how we will travel next 10 weeks. I will share it again for your benefit. So
Dharmendra, adi corrupt ayindi, open garden ledanu, open garden ledu corrupt ayindani vastundi. You may check again and send it across.
Okay, sir. We'll come back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hope my screen is visible to all. So,
Yes.
So there will be 10 modules. Okay. The names of these modules are these. Now we are having 0 module like introduction. How will the methodology of training will be? Okay. So this is first session, buffer, second session, pedogenesis, third session, photosynthesis, fourth module, carbon sponge, fifth, water and hydrology, sixth, nutrients, 7th, roots and the rhizosphere. 8th, microecology. 9th, resilience. 10th, productivity. So these are the basic things will be taught by Walter. Okay, so they are all structured in a way that there will be a gradual accumulation of this new and relevant knowledge. So normally when we come across some videos and all, we don't have previous knowledge, so it will be difficult for us to make linkages. So he has suggested step-by-step approach where if you follow everything, you'll have a good understanding on the basics. So when Walter asked what kind of specialized topics this group would like to listen from him, we just asked him, we want basics very firmly grounded. So we want to understand the basics of agroecology or regenerative agriculture. So please keep the topics very simple, because they are very important. We have to have a thorough understanding on each of the basic aspects. So following that, he has suggested this. Okay, so these are the modules. So one module will take 1 week to complete. So till October, every week we'll be having continuous sessions. By October 10th, I think we'll conclude this total master class. So that is first step. So there is a schedule also given. So how it is structured means, Walter will be meeting us every Monday morning 10:30 to 11. Okay, that will be Q&A session live. So he will be answering the questions that we ask from the module content that we go through. Okay, so when will the module content? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. There was some disturbance. Go ahead.
Okay. So 1 week ahead itself, we'll get the module by mail. That module package contains his recorded lecture and videos selected, other training videos selected by him, 1 or 2 videos as an additional reading, and also literature. Those 3 will be coming as part of a package. And how you should use that module, some instruction, 1 pager will be getting. So that he expects all these 83 core group participants to go through and come back to him after 4 or 5 days of study. So that even after going through the content, if you still have some questions or you want to ask some additional questions, you will pose your questions in the Q&A session on Monday morning. So that is how it is. There is enough time for you to go through 1 or 2 times also. Okay, and think through and read additional material and meet Walter in Q&A session live. So once the Q&A session is over, that evening, module 2 package will come to us. What we are planning to do is, instead of mailing the package to everyone, we thought we would conduct some pre-work sessions. So on Monday, Q&A session would be over. On Tuesday, one of us will be facilitating a class. So what content we have received, that we will play. Okay, so those videos will play in that class, additional videos also, and what should be read, all of that. We'll spend a couple of hours, maybe 2 hours, we'll go through, and after 2-3 days, we'll collect questions from you. Okay, and the facilitator will collect questions repeated repetitive questions, he or she will curate and make a list of valid questions and send it to Walter. So Walter will come prepared to answer. He will not be just responding to the questions that he received, but people will be free to interact with him in the Q&A session. So that is how it is planned. Okay. So in this, if you have any doubts, please raise your hand and ask. And the medium of instruction is English only. So there will not be translations available. And people who we thought would struggle to understand English, we did not put them as a core group. That is also one criteria we have put. So please don't mind about that. And if you have any doubts so far, please ask.
Dharmendra garu.
Yes.
The one question is that when you do the orientation class on the second day, do you think we will have a chance to facilitate that session in Telugu? Because having listened to Walter's videos for a long time, one issue is with the language and the accent, and the other issue is the concepts. Okay, I think though all of us are quite aware of these issues, connecting these issues to our ground reality experience and working back and forth to relate what Walter is saying and understand what we are experiencing, and to frame our question for the next week. There may be some translations are necessary that we can do perhaps during the orientation.
Yes. So Pawan, my response will be like this. So all these core group members are fluent in English, so they don't need translations for now, for this season of 10 weeks. Okay. So that won't necessary now. And we would build sufficient experience how to conduct these master classes. Once we are through with these 10 weeks, we can come up with a Telugu version of master class, maybe if required. We can do it a little later. So for now, we will not spend our energy in translations. First, we'll do it in English. So
that's fine with me. Yeah,
yes.
That's fine with. Take the opinion from others also.
Yeah,
maybe after a couple of classes, we can reconstruct this position, given the response we receive from others.
Others means all these core group people know English very well, so that won't be necessary.
Dharmendra garu.
Yes.
నా సజెషన్ కూడా ఒకటి ఉందంటే, పవన్ గారు చెప్పింది కొంచెం వ్యాలిడ్ క్వశ్చన్, వ్యాలిడ్ ప్రాబ్లం అది. ఆ యాక్సెంట్ కొన్నిసార్లు మనం పట్టుకోలేని పరిస్థితి ఉంటుంది, మళ్ళీ వినాల్సి వస్తుంది. కానీ ఆయన చెప్పేటప్పుడే స్క్రీన్ పైన ట్రాన్స్క్రిప్షన్ ఇంగ్లీష్ లో వచ్చేలాగా రికార్డ్ చేస్తే సరిపోతుంది. అది ఈజీ అవుతుంది కొంచెం.
Yes. Okay. So accent issues. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, definitely.
అదే ఆయన చెప్తుండగానే ఆ ట్రాన్స్క్రిప్షన్ వస్తుంది కదా, స్క్రీన్ పైన వచ్చేస్తే అది రికార్డ్ చేస్తాం కదా, కాబట్టి మళ్ళీ వెనక్కి వెళ్ళినా ఈజీ అవుతుంది. అది తెలుసుకోవడానికి.
We are not sure about that because all the videos that he would send not be.
అది రికార్డ్ చేసేటప్పుడే ఆప్షన్ పెట్టుకుంటూ వస్తుందేమో.
ఒకటండి,
much of the teaching will be from recorded lectures.
Can I intervene? See, there are two facilities here. One is that Zoom has a kind of a real-time transcript facility right in the Zoom. Okay, if
I know.
You can activate that.
He will be live with us for only 30 minutes on Monday.
Yes.
But you can. Bulk of the teaching will happen on Monday through recorded lectures. Whether that have subtitles or not, I'm not sure.
No, that's where I'm saying. So if it is a Zoom session, you can request him, or one of you can take the lead and activate that real-time transcript facility. Otherwise, what we do in general for these international training programs, we hire people for live transcript kind of a thing. real-time transcript kind of thing, which is really expensive. We will talk about that tomorrow, but I think there is a need for that. And as you said, for other videos, it may not be Walter, it may be several other people. And we will have to look at the accent there. So that's why I'm saying, if we can wait and experience it for a couple of weeks, then we will get to know, what could be the modality that we need to adopt.
Sure. Okay. Shravan, please note this. If there can be dynamic translation.
ఇప్పుడు మనం మాట్లాడుతుండగానే ఈ లైవ్ ట్రాన్స్క్రిప్షన్ వచ్చింది స్క్రీన్ మీద.
సార్ సార్ ధర్మేందర్ సార్, లైవ్ ట్రాన్స్క్రిప్ట్ ఆన్ చేసాము సార్. వాళ్ళకి
దీన్ని రికార్డ్ చేసుకుంటే సరిపోతుంది అంతే.
సబ్ టైటిల్ ఆన్ చేసుకోవాలి.
ఓకే.
వస్తని అది 70% యాక్యురసీ ఉంటుంది, 60 to 70% యాక్యురసీ ఉంటుంది. అది చూసుకోండి.
ఒక్కోసారి మిస్లీడింగ్ గా కూడా ఉంటుంది సార్.
అదే
ప్రాబ్లం.
దాని మీద కంప్లీట్ రిలై అవ్వలేదు సార్, బట్
ఉంది
సపోర్టివ్.
Yes. Okay. So for facilitating each of these sessions, some of us have blocked their time, but like Varprasad sir is suggesting, if anyone wants to facilitate some session, I think please let us know. You can be a co-facilitator or something like. Okay. So
Dharmendra garu, that's not my intention. Is that you can keep in fact from each group, like a training group, writers group, if one person is given a chance, when this facilitator from RYSS do take the opinions from each group, because what I was saying, the perception of training group, perception of writers group, or perception of the research coordinators will be different. So their questions, their understanding will be different. So instead of putting it a lot of effort for everybody to react, if there is someone in the group who can represent their perceptions or questions, that can be considered. That's what actually I meant.
So we'll see for a few weeks, then we'll take a call on that, because it is a new thing for all of us, and we cannot introduce new people to handle critical sessions.
Right. Okay.
No, but his opinion is highly valuable, because see, but again, Varaprasad garu, one more issue is, see, if we have these facilitators coming in with different opinions, finally we will end up in taking different directions to understand the same concept.
No. Sorry. Wait, please. Facilitator will not be doing anything extra than distributing the content of Walter. Okay. So otherwise it will be lost in translation. So
right. Not that Dharmender, what
we don't need to add our opinions or explanations also. We'll keep it simple.
Actually,
only Walter's words will be highlighted. That's all.
True. But when we have to collect the questions and in advance, when we send it to the Walter, that it's not only from the research angle, it should be from the
yes. Definitely, yes.
That's the point I was making.
Yes. That is very much needed.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, today we are having this pre-work session. Okay. Next Q&A session will be 1st August. Okay. The timings are fixed 10:30 to 11, but it will be 10 to 11. I think there is a slight change. 10 to 11, you have to block time. And this pre-work will be the very next day of after Q&A session or a day later. This is flexible, but we'll see that it happens in the forenoon. Okay. And these dates, the sequence of modules is fixed. Okay. It cannot be jumbled. And these dates are also fixed by Walter. But for example, earlier they have given 15th of August, but we changed it to 16th of August, that is Tuesday. Okay. So, and also Dashra might be coming. We'll have to tell them well in advance to change dates from their side. So that we will be doing. Otherwise, these dates are fixed. So this document will be shared again with you all. So block your calendars. So every week you will be appearing twice, one for pre-work session and for Q&A session. In the meantime, you should be finding enough time to go through the material. There will be evaluation, surprise test, something like that, to see how you are following. So, okay, these evaluations will be for core group only. Others in a different method we may collect that. And all these core group people who have enrolled cannot skip classes. Okay, whenever they are free, they should not plan to attend. They should commit and block their time for this. So if any of us think that it is not possible for them, please let me know so that I will remove their name from this list. Okay, if it's not possible for you to commit that much time. Okay? So, and also I find that many people have not joined the call. I don't know for what reason. So we'll find that out. We'll be analyzing the login details in Zoom account. So which email has logged in, which hasn't, we'll find that out. Okay.
Dharmender,
Yeah.
I have one small doubt. When you said that for core group, you want to have, use the word surprised or something, is it you design some questionnaire pre and post sessions for the group?
I have to.
Okay. That is like formal. You have maybe some questions of these domains, and so people will fill it up, and that pre and post, their knowledge level.
Correct. What we are trying to plan is that since the Q&A session is only for 40 minutes like that, after Walter leaves, we'll still be on that call and take some assessments on that module. We can conduct some exam or quiz or like that.
Right.
Or some extended science discussion, who are well learned or who have greater understanding that they have developed, they can discuss their experience. That kind of sharing session also we can put. So this is the rough plan. Once we do 1 or 2 sessions, we'll have even more ideas. Okay. So we are planning to share one permanent link so that for each session, a different link, keeping track of that will be difficult. So altogether for these 10 modules, we'll be meeting 20 times. So only one link should be valid. I think Shravan will be helping us with that. And also all these recordings will be made available. YouTube links will be made available, considering storage options and all. So what we are planning to get out of this is, first thing, we are enriching ourselves with knowledge. And also we will be documenting each session, especially in the perspective of curriculum development, so that as training modules, it will be used on all our cadres. MTs, they will be trained on that. There will be further training, CRPs, ICRPs, all of that. So for that, each module will be converted into one booklet or a primer. So that is one idea. First, initially, we are planning to develop in English, and maybe simultaneously, I think Pawan is confident that he can develop in Telugu as well at the same time. And we already told translations into Telugu will not be happening. Real-time translation, while water is speaking, somebody translating, that will not happen. Like we did for webinar. When he was doing a webinar, there were language wise groups where interpreters were translating real time. That will not happen here. Okay.
One concern.
Yes.
One concern, Davendra. See, about when we were discussing this afternoon before this meeting, we
Yes.
thought of translating Walter's lecture, lecture or question and answer session. So we will do the transcript. Are you expecting us to do the transcript of the session that we handle on the next day, 2-hour-long session?
Yes, next day, the session that we handle the next day will have Walter's teaching material, video versions. So he will be talking through the videos, recorded videos. So that will be documented. Yeah, those will be the main modules.
Okay, so
Q&A is like consolidating, wrapping up thing.
Pawan, I have one suggestion.
It comes from the second day session that we facilitate.
Dharmendra.
Yes, Rishi.
So there is one suggestion, because Pawan and Anu are on the board, and it's a great opportunity for us to actually, as I was describing in the afternoon, that this should be a kind of a resource content. You might have 2-3 formats in mind, but this content is like a resource for, say, for doing 2D graphics 1 minute, right? For our internal consumption, for extension, for mainstreaming, because something that is generated through this 10 weeks, this is like a dictionary for us that can be used for anything. I'll just share probably later after this meeting a 1 minute video we did on soil, based on just Muralidhar's post in Yogakshem. I shared with others. So it came out well to tell the story of soil health in just 1 minute 18 seconds. I have 930 impressions on LinkedIn. So why I'm explaining this is that it has a long shelf value. When I say long shelf value, this is something can be used by different people in different thematic areas, right?
Yes.
So we have to write this content as a resource content that can be used for research. Somebody want to publish a paper, and probably this is something that we don't have anything else. Somebody want to revisit this. So it has to be presented and available in such a form that can be used for different formats, for different media.
Yes, I understand, Vishi. Yeah. What I want to say about this outputs is, yes, there can be various types of output through which we'll communicate this message, each module, what it is saying. What we'll do is, we'll have a separate meeting on how do we go about documentation. So this afternoon we thought of 6-7 names who would be a part of this documentation team, while Pawan and Anu would be doing the main work of interpretation. So others would be in the editorial group. They will be seeing that the content should be used in various formats like that. So definitely we'll have a separate discussion with a small group. Right, sir? Is that fine?
Yeah, it's fine. We'll do that.
Yes, sir. Yes. So maybe on Monday itself, Monday we can have a call together. After that initial session is over.
Yeah, better. Yep.
Yes. Yeah, Vishi, thank you. So, does anyone have any questions on how we'll go about next 10 weeks? Then we'll move on to next discussion.
Dharmendra garu.
So
నిన్న వరప్రసాద్ గారు ఫెసిలిటేటర్స్ నేమ్స్ కొంచెం చేంజ్ చేశారు. అది ఇప్పుడు ఈ డాక్యుమెంట్ లో అవ్వలేదు.
పాత వచ్చిందా? ఓకే ఓకే ఫైన్.
Yes.
పాత
Yes.
ఓకే.
Yes. So, Diksha?
Yes, I'll be explaining about the flipped classroom model. So I would like to share the screen. So I would request you to stop sharing the screen.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So today I'll be explaining about the flipped classroom model. Flipped classroom model is the medium of instruction through which the master class will be facilitated. The more important question is, why are we using the flipped classroom model? So we want to convert all passive engagement.
Diksha, your voice is breaking. Diksha.
Voice is not clear. Diksha, voice is not clear.
Just share the
I can't hear you.
I'm just changing my AI. One minute. I hope now it's better.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so the flipped classroom model, why are we using the flipped classroom model is the first question. So we want to increase the participation, we want to increase the active engagement. Instead of participants just listening to the module and being a passive listener, we want them to discuss, because as EVC sir said, the participants are from various thematics and they are coming from the different perspective. We want to leverage that fact that we are having so many different perspectives. So we have a resource from the Walter classes that can be leveraged for maybe national or even international projects. So flipped classroom is divided into 3 categories. One is before class, one is during class, and one is after class. So the before class consists of pre-work. So the pre-work would be given to the participants who are in the core group, where they can engage with the pre-work. Pre-work would be with respect to content, with respect to videos, with respect to papers. So like all of you, the pre-work will be given to us gradually. So we don't know what is going to happen on the session 4. We just know what is going to happen in the next session. So pre-work is released in a weekly basis. And as we discussed during the pre-work classes, we will have discussion among the participants, and they will get a list of questions that they're going to ask Walter during the Q&A session, which will be for around half an hour. So we need to be very careful that those questions are very crisp and we use Walter's time very effectively. So what I talked about Q&A session is going to happen during the class. So the next session will be on Monday. The session starts at 10, but the Q&A sessions starts at 10:30, and it will continue till 11 o'clock. And after the class, like Dharmendra sir previously stated, we need to assess whether the group is understanding the concept, whether they are asking valid questions. For that, quizzes or maybe discussion groups will be set up. Right. As of now, we don't know what approach we are going to use. That depends on Walter and Regenerate Earth on how they will facilitate the class further. But I am giving you a start by saying that we will have such quizzes and we'll have such discussions to have an active engagement. So out and out, the main purpose of having masterclass by Walter and picking the participants that we have chosen is each one of you have influence in your circle, and you can leverage this influence to create that impact in your circle. So the knowledge has to get an application base through you. So you are the chosen one who are going to use this knowledge and create that impact. So that is after class. That is all dependent on how you utilize this session. And all the senior consultants from science have been selected to facilitate the pre-work class because they have that knowledge. So we can come in one platform where we have an equal knowledge and we can discuss and have questions which are very pertinent to what's happening right now. So I would like to also discuss the benefits of having flipped classroom model. So the first benefit is that because the participants are from different thematic, some participants need to get prepared and come to the class because they don't have a science background. This is where the pre-work and the discussion will help you. So you can discuss with your peers who already have that knowledge and already have that expertise. This increases interdepartment and inter-thematic engagement. Second part, and a very important part, that it improves understanding of the class. That, okay, if I am understanding a particular concept and the other participant is not understanding it, I know what level they are coming from and I know what perspective they are coming from. And we need to create, RYSS is obviously going towards creating impact. And we can only create impact through having that discussion, understanding what the other thematics perspective is. And the last and the most important point is all of us are very busy and our time is very valuable. So this session have to be very time efficient so that we get maximum out of the time that we have scoped. So these are the benefits of flipped class models, and I hope we have a very productive session. Over to you, Dharmendra sir.
Yeah, thank you, Diksha. So I'll just share one zero module document that has been given to us. I'll share this document to you all via email. And see, this is how we'll get every module. This is module 0. So it's about welcoming. What you're supposed to learn in this module 0. So understand better the benefits and challenges of the flipped classroom. Improve your understanding of the causes and nature solutions to anthropogenic climate change and hydrology. Have an introduction to Walter Jehne and the Regenerate Earth team who are delivering this masterclass. So initially it is kind of introductions and what methodology that we follow for these masterclass sessions. So you can read the remaining content, and there are some videos also inserted here. I request Shravan or Shivkoti to play them. These are very short videos. Okay.
Yes, sir. I will be shared.
Yeah.
By the time they share the video, can I ask you one question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, in the post session or post-water session, do you mean that are you going to divide us into some small groups, online groups, wherein we will be given some topic, or based on those topics, we can discuss, come for a common learning, and come back to the major group and plenary and present that the learning, so that a common perspective is built, is something like that?
Actually, to be honest, I did not think so much on what can we do after Walter leaves the Q&A session. So all ideas are welcome. How to maximize the impact. So we'll talk about it, Praveen, definitely. So yeah, please continue to suggest good ideas, all participants.
Shall I continue to share, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Unmute the video.
living things. So that's the technical term often given. We're now going to start looking at ecology, which is just a study of how life interacts with other life, or how living things interact with each other and their environment. And so you could think of it as, well, how is life interacting with living things? So that's the technical term often given as biotic factors. Biotic factors. You have the word bio in there, signaling life, or non-living things. Abiotic factor. A is the prefix often for not, so abiotic is not living factors. And those are just the technical terms. But if you even think about yourself, as you watch this video, you are in an environment. You are interacting with it. There are many abiotic factors around you that you might notice. The air that you are breathing, the temperature, your access to water. But there's also biotic factors. Even if you think you're in a room alone, you're not completely alone. There is bacteria around you that you might not see. There might be other forms of life. You might have a plant in the room. Those are the biotic factors that you are interacting with. That plant in that room might be producing oxygen that you are then breathing, or you're producing carbon dioxide, which that plant is able to fix and grow. And it might be interacting with abiotic factors like sunlight that it uses in photosynthesis in order to fix the carbon. We study all of that in some depth in biology. And really, ecology is a bit of a synthesis of a lot of what or if anything, all of what we learn in biology, because it's taking life up, it's studying life at another level, where it's not just the individual organism anymore, and it's not even just the population or the community, but we're talking about an even bigger system that is incredibly complex. And that's why it's a really interesting thing to study. Now, all of these images here are things that folks would associate with an ecosystem. Over here you have a coral reef, and some of the life is obvious. You see the coral, you see the fish here, but there's also life that you're not seeing. There's going to be bacteria in this water that's not visible, at least in this picture. And the abiotic factors are going to be things like the water temperature, or frankly just even the existence of water, or the salt content of the water, or other minerals that are in the water. These pictures over here, you don't necessarily see the animal life, but there is for sure going to be, if you were to dig into this grass or look through these bushes, you will find animal life. You will find insects. You'll find other animals. The trees are life. So that's going to be part of the ecosystem. And if we're studying ecology, we would think about, well, how do these trees interact with the water, interact with the other species? How do they provide shelter for them, or food, or how are they dependent on the other life in some way to grow? Same thing for, in this case, the mushrooms. How is this fungus living on this tree branch, or on this in conjunction with the moss and whatever else? All of this is a study of ecology, the study of ecosystems. Now, when folks are talking about ecology, they like to talk about different scales. And so let's now think about the different scales within an ecosystem, or even beyond an ecosystem. So I have some pictures that if you watch a wildlife show, you typically see some images like this. And so since we at least are familiar with it, at least on TV, hopefully we get to visit this at some point in our life. Let's just think about the different characters here on the different ecological scales. So at the most basic scale is the individual. So let me write this down. You have the individual. So if we were talking about these elephants, the individual would be one individual elephant right over there. Now the next scale is the population. The next scale is the population. And if we were to stick with our African savanna theme right over here, the population, you have an individual elephant, the population would be the members of that same species that live in that area. So in this case, the population would at least include these elephants that we see in the picture. There might be a couple of elephants that are off the picture. And I should say in particular, these are going to be the African elephants. So it's the members of the same species that are living in the same place. And it's up for the classifier or the scientist, whoever studying it, to define what do we mean by living in the same place. We might define it as the people, not the people, the elephants that live within a few miles of this watering hole. You might define it as the elephants that live within a broader area. It could be, that live in East Africa or South Africa or whatever it might be. And so defining the population is all the members of the species that live in an area, but that area is up for definition. Now the next level up is the community. Is the community. And that is all the living things that might live in that area, however we define the area. So, for example, if this lion and this giraffe lives in the area that we use to define the population, they would be members of the community. So let me circle them. So they would be members of the community. And it wouldn't even just be the big animals that you see here. It would include all the life that is in that area. So it would include the vegetation that is in the area. It would include the bacteria. It would include the fungus. It would include any animals that are living inside of this water that you see there. Now, if you go even one more level of kind of inclusion, then we go to the ecosystem. So then we go, I'll go down here. Then you go to an ecosystem. And what an ecosystem is, it's all of the living things in that community, so all of the living things in an area. And then you're also adding the non-living things, the abiotic factor. So you're including the rock and the air and the weather and the clouds and the water itself that is part of that watering hole. And a lot of times you might think that the abiotic factors, well, they for sure affect the biotic factors. If you don't have water, or if the temperature is too cold or too hot, it might be hard for a certain type of life to thrive. But it goes both ways. The biotic factors affect the abiotic factors. We have oxygen in our environment due to life on Earth. They might also affect the chemical composition of certain parts of the abiotic factors, say the water or the soil or whatever else. And if you want to get a level above an ecosystem, then sometimes you'll hear people talk about a biosphere. Biosphere, which is, you can think of it as a meta-ecosystem, or oftentimes in my head I view it as a it contains all of the ecosystems that are in some way connected to each other. So a fully enclosed, fully contained ecosystem. And biospheres are actually, well, I guess the most famous biospheres, or the one that we're typically referring to, is we could refer to the whole Earth as a biosphere. It has multiple ecosystems. And once again, the ecosystems, it depends what the researcher wants to define as an ecosystem. They could define it as, just something around a certain river in a certain area, just like that, or they might define the ecosystem as a broader region. But all of the ecosystems in the world are part of the biosphere that we know as, that is part of Earth. And it's self-contained because we don't think that there are that many influences from outside of the Earth. Although even there, we have to give some credit to the sun. That is providing abiotic factors for sure. We wouldn't have life on Earth as we know it without the sun. And there's also things like the moon, the gravitational effects. You could consider that an abiotic factor. Without the tides, we would not have life as we know it. But one thing that's really fun, as many of you all know, I enjoy science fiction, is to think about, well, what kind of biospheres could you have even if you think about beyond the Earth? And this is a depiction here. This is actually from NASA's website of how humans could create biospheres outside of the planet. It's this interesting thing where, that's quote unquote land up here. It would be artificially created, and then you would rotate it so that there's the perception of gravity. But anyway, the study of ecosystems, the study of biospheres, the study of ecology in general is incredibly, incredibly fascinating, because when you have all of this complexity, each living thing is incredibly complex. And in fact, if you want, you could even sometimes consider part of a living thing as an ecosystem in and of itself. If you were to look even on the surface of your hand, you have bacteria living there that's dependent on you in some way, and you might actually benefit from the bacteria or actually get hurt from the bacteria in some way. So there's all sorts of different scales. But once you start factoring everything in together, it becomes these incredibly beautiful, complex, often balanced, sometimes imbalanced systems that have emergent properties that start to have behaviors or and I want to use that word very loosely, that are somehow describe, or I guess you could say properties that somehow describe the ecosystem as a whole.
Shall I play the next video, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Phil Jarvis and I run the farming operations at the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust Allerton Project. The Allerton Project's objectives are to look at the interaction between wildlife and farming, included agroecological principles, to research them as well, and also to disseminate the information we get to others. So we're going to talk about some agroecological principles. There are many, they are numerous, but what we're going to concentrate on is those that we do at the Allerton Project in Loddington. So we're going to talk about arable farming and cultivation and rotations. We're going to talk about soil health, reducing inputs. We're going to look at how cover crops, stock and stockless systems with grass can work. And we're going to look at agroforestry and habitat management, and how that habitat management can benefit your crop production and the environment. People often ask what an agroecological approach is to farming. Well, if you take conventional farming and food production on one side and perhaps environmental protection and enhancement on the other, what are those farming practices that can meet both objectives? Strong, profitable food production and environmental responsibility. So let's start with food production, and how do we go about it on a heavy clay farm in Leicestershire? Well, firstly, growing appropriate crops. Secondly, looking at my rotation and looking at the varieties within that rotation. How can I save on certain things? Are they resistant to certain pests and diseases? And I don't need to use as many fungicides. And what natural processes can help me? So in this particular field, we're doing a cultivation trial as well. So can I use less diesel, keep more straw, more food on the surface for beetles and farmland birds? Maybe I've got to do a little bit more intervention on certain sides, or do I revert back to a plough because I may well have a weed problem and I may well want to restructure my soil if I'm on lighter land, say. So first and foremost, different ways of growing crops on heavy land in Leicestershire. So we talked about the importance of rotation, so not only crops that are very carbon based like wheat and barley, but those that help with the nitrogen. So carbon and nitrogen cycle is really important for growing crops. So this crop of beans here with roots going down that will nodulate up and fix nitrogen from the soil. It's early in the year, so but you can see this new growth just beginning to grow at the bottom here. These will have nodules on them, they'll fix nitrogen. When I harvest the crop, I'll take the bean and this bit will go back into the soil and there'll be a source of nitrogen for the next crop. So one of the other things that's really important, I've just picked up this clod from this bean field and broken it up, and not only is there a beetle there, which is part of its diet, may well be a slug, but also in here is earthworms as well, and earthworms are improving channels through my soil. They're digesting the organic matter in the top and they're helping do loads of things to help my soil structure. Earthworms are really keen in this agroecological approach. There are underground engineers, they're really an army working on behalf of farmers. That's really important. Earthworms, get the thumbs up. This is some of our cover crop here, that what's left of it. We've got Phacelia in here, we've got an oil radish, we've got some volunteer cereals, and there's some oats sown in here. And this is all about keeping a cover on the ground the whole time. It's about locking nutrients up in this plant here. It's about when it is destroyed and we plant the next crop in here, which is going to be spring beans, that the nutrients that are captured in here and aren't leaching off down our water courses are available for the next crop. So in an agroecological approach, using things like cover crops, catch crops, companion crops are really important. If sometimes your soil makes it a challenge, then introducing grass into your rotation may be an option. So there's lots of ways that we can use rotations and different cropping systems to help us in that approach to try and make sure we look after our soils. So I'm going to talk about glyphosate briefly and how I look to reduce not just glyphosate but a lot of plant protection products, a lot of fertilizers, and appropriate use. We have to have much more judicious use of our inputs. We have to be much more selective, and we have to try and make sure that the products we use are safe on our farmland. That doesn't mean to say that we shouldn't have the debate about the advantages that certain plant protection products can give to the soil, not to need to plough, to keep insect flora and fauna on the top, and be able to reduce our cultivations and our diesel use by drilling straight into it. But not just glyphosate, all our inputs, because for not only environmental reasons, but for my pocket, the less I spend on my crop and the more of those processes that can happen, there's more profit in it for me. And we're talking about a margin and a profitability rather than just chasing a yield.
I'm sure you've heard how
Sir, finish, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Shivkoti. So this is how pre-work class looks like. Once we have real sessions, this is just introductory. We'll have some discussion as well. So I think we have reached the end of this session. So what we'll be doing is we'll mailing you this document that we received, and you please go through once again and come prepared for Q&A session on Monday at 10 o'clock, not 10:30. I think Ben Fox has revised time. Ben Fox is Walter's associate who is managing his schedule and everything. So 10 o'clock, 10 to 11, we'll be meeting again. And I request Vishy and Praveen if some sort of chat can happen among the participants. We already have one Google Groups email group. So within that, can we do some chatting for clarifications or anything? What is or where do we meet? Like another WhatsApp group? It should be like informal. If anyone has any doubts, they should be approaching. So any suggestions?
Dharmendra, I think we will have a WhatsApp chat group. It becomes easy for all of us.
Okay.
And let have this one session, let all of us experience,
Yeah.
this then it becomes easy for, to know who's coming from what perspective and, the kind of questions they ask. Who are the people who can answer, it will fall in line. That's what my...
Okay then. So I think two groups will be making, one for the entire list and one for small group of managers, the editors and organizers of this masterclass. Okay. So yeah, Diksha and Shiva, let's start two WhatsApp groups also.
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir.
So anyone else have any comments, please, you are free to share them. Just for 2-3 minutes, we'll be closing. If anyone thinks it is a very difficult exercise to follow every week and you want to move out of this group, please let me know. Revati garu maatladtara? Yes, okay. So if nobody has okay, no problem. So if there is nothing to talk about.
Dharmendra.
Yes.
Dharmendra.
Yes, Cheppandi, Pawan.
So one concern is that after listening to those two videos, I think those whoever is participating will have to listen to those videos, not not in this Zoom conference actually. Sometimes there are these challenges with reception, and when you screen it on Zoom, most of it is not audible.
Yes.
And if you can send these things prior to the meeting, maybe 2 days before or 3 days before, then we will play, we will listen to them carefully. And then by the time we attend Walter's, one precaution that I would carefully, these two speakers are using two different accents, that is one, and two different topics, that is second. And the third point is both the subjects are too vast and too different. We need to be really conscious of the phrases, particular phrases that they are using. Perhaps for some of the words, we need to refer to the dictionaries to understand those concepts. They are not just words. Some of them are concepts. So that is where I think a lot of our energies goes in. Then the second concern I have is about the translation of our session. Like, okay, Walter's session is just half an hour, and after that it is followed by question and answer session. That means the total content is about an hour, which Anu, I think, can do the transcript, and provided that you will immediately share the video. Okay, one is the one assignment that she should take up immediately is that she would do the live transcription and also listen to the video and add wherever it is necessary. Okay, that is one. And when you say that the second meeting that we are holding is a preparatory meeting, I think that is where the time that we spend is about 2 hours. Is it really possible to do transcripts of these videos? Writing a transcript for a 2-hour length of a presentation is not so easy. So I think there are issues with the time, and also, and then we are looking at translation. Is it possible for us to really do the translation and get it ready by the weekend? I think it looks little cumbersome. Maybe, given the introduction that we had today, we will go with English as of now, and we will separate this translation from this main orientation program. And maybe we will give a dedicated time for 2 months or so, or 4 weeks or 6 weeks to sit and do the translation. So that's how I'm thinking. Anyway, I think some of these things we can discuss again tomorrow when Raidu Garu gives time.
Yes.
So, yeah, we will have to fix these modalities tomorrow.
Yes, correct. Okay. So as soon as we receive the module, I think we'll share it. So if participants choose to go through all the content before they come for pre-work, that will be good, very good. Yes, yeah. Okay, we'll have a separate discussion on Monday after our Q&A session. Yes.
Will you inform us when we are meeting? When are we meeting, right, Garu?
See, till 11 o'clock we'll be occupied with Walter. Maybe 11:30 we could meet.
No. For this preliminary meeting about see, okay, tomorrow you got a meeting with Walter again. Okay.
On Monday we'll be meeting Walter.
No, before that, why not we have our planning meeting with Ryder?
We'll come back as a separate group. We'll discuss. We'll fix some time. Yeah, if there is a slot tomorrow, we'll have a meeting tomorrow.
Fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. So I think this is the end of the first session. Sir, shall we close?
Sir, Dharmender sir.
Prasad. Yeah,
Sir, from our management side, I request all the core participants to please check your mail IDs so that the direct link for joining the
Yes,
Zoom call as
yeah.
a panelist will be mailed to you.
This is very important. Please, all the core participants, you would have received a direct link to join any session. Okay, so you will be directly joining as panelist. So
Yes, sir.
somebody will not require you to manually transfer from attendees to panelist. Okay, so please check
Every time it's being difficult to manage that.
Yeah, putting manually everyone into panelist is difficult. So there will be a separate panelist link sent to your email. Please use that. And as much as possible, if you are giving your personal emails, we'll update them so that these lecture archives will be in your direct mail only, even if in future references also. Let it not be an organizational mail. So that is what I'm trying to say. And also, if it is an organization, for example, DPM mail is accessible to everyone. So you may lose track of reading whether you have read it or not. You may miss that. So if you can provide us your personal emails, we'll update you. Okay. Thanks, Shivakoti. Any more? We'll share separately. Okay. We'll close it now.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Is it fine?
Yeah, I think as we travel the distance,
yes,
we'll get a greater clarity and lot many ideas today. Except Palekar's thing, we have not done this kind of thing. So Palekar workshop experience, we can use it. అక్కడ కూడా మనము learners గ్రూపులు చేసి questions చేసి అవి చేసాము. Gopi can add value to that, and as we go along, we'll learn new tricks of the trade.
Correct, sir.
Yep. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, and bye.
You may end the meeting, Shravan.